Carlos Tavares, he's the CEO of Stellantis, and he recently spoke out against the European Union's tariffs on Chinese EVs. Most people think that the tariffs are a bad thing. I definitely do. They don't help anybody. And interestingly, when you consider what the CEO of Stellantis said, and I'll explain who Stellantis are because I think a lot of people won't know, and remember the fact that he is the boss of a company that largely owns a lot of brands, mainly European brands. They're considered competition of Chinese vehicles, so it should be that he's thinking, if we can thwart the Chinese success in Europe, that's a good thing. That's not his stance at all. So first, a quick overview of Stellantis. Stellantis owns a really big range of well-known brands, including, and this is not all of them, these are just ones I can remember, Alfa Romeo, Abarth, Chrysler, Citroen, Dodge, DS Automobiles, Fiat, Jeep, Lancia, Maserati, Opel, Peugeot, or Peugeot if you're American, and Ram, and also Vauxhall as well. So a lot of brands. Arguably, it's quite a European identity, hence why the CEO having this stance that he doesn't support the Chinese EV subsidies is a big deal. So you might have also thought that his saying this comment might make investors and shareholders a bit nervous. And it quite possibly has. If you look at the share price, it has been in a really steady decline since then, but not just because of that comment. It was a little bit before. It's been tapering down. So he has been saying almost incessantly since the end of 2023, I think November or December, I first heard it, that the Chinese tax basically just hurts the industry and it isn't fair, and that he doesn't support it. So the Mercedes boss basically saying the same sort of rhetoric, even writing a letter as well to, pleading with the EU to reduce these taxes on Chinese vehicles coming into Europe. Elon Musk also says he supports getting rid of the tariffs just completely. He doesn't support them at all, even though he also has said things to the effect of, in the US, Chinese EVs, if they came to the US, would demolish our industry, or EV industry. What is your opinion? That's what I'm really interested about. Do you think we should allow these Chinese cars to come in with the standard tax as any other product? So 10% or something like that into the European Union. And, should we force other manufacturers to lower their prices? I personally do. I think it's a common sense approach. These companies such as Ford, GM, they do make a lot of money. They really do. And they pay their bigwigs a lot of money. And I think they pay their bosses and whatnot way too much money. I know Ford, for example, has struggled. Last year they only sold 17% of their target of the Ford F-150 Lightning. But as a company, they're not doing so bad, and they've been going for a long time. I think we can afford to push them in the right direction a little bit. So if they refuse to make their cars cheaper, then I think it's just best to force them. They need to learn how to make a profit with EVs, and I don't think mollycoddling them will help at all. I think that will actually just hinder their success long term. Tough love. I think this is the bad part of capitalism. I think, for example, the CEO of Boeing had a 40% pay rise last year, up to almost $40 million. Even though their planes have been falling out of the sky, killing hundreds of people for the last few years, and they've got major issues, really. Doors falling off, planes plummeting to the ground, multiple planes plummeting to the ground. Capitalism is a bit crap, isn't it, I think? And it's got to be said. Although I know a lot of my watchers are from the US, and I think you generally support capitalism. It's not always a horrendous thing. There are aspects of it that are quite good. But I think we've gone from obviously a feudal system here in Europe, where we have like royal families, and then people sort of pay their money so they can stay within the bounds of a country, and then they give you protection. But when it starts to be that politicians own a country basically, and they don't serve the people, it's obviously an issue. And I think that's kind of what's going on these days. Obviously 2024 is definitely a bit crap in some respects, and I think you could always say that, really, couldn't you? For a long time you could always just say that. So it's not like something's different now and it was a lot better back in the day, I suppose. But anyway, the fact that people are left going homeless in our societies, in the UK, in other countries too, it's not a thing I support. Obviously. It doesn't matter if you're a successful person or something like that. I just would like to think that at least everybody in the countries here in Europe are housed, that sort of thing. I don't support capitalism in that sense because it's getting out of hand. It's ridiculous. A few people own everything now. Amazon, and people are left to be hungry and homeless and talked, treated terribly. It's an awful thing. So I, of course, think people should get paid what they're worth, but you can't reasonably explain. For example, this one person, a 40% rise in salary for that boss. That's just one person taking a salary that could literally employ a huge amount of people. I mean, you could take that money and employ lots of people who could have happy lives and, have a nice house and a mortgage and a car. But it's just that one person getting it all. Huge money. It's ridiculous. So I think we should not be so soft with these companies. I just don't. And I don't think I ever would be, thinking that we should be so soft and generous to them. These companies can afford to be forced to lower their prices. And I don't make any apology for thinking that. So if you disagree, if you agree, let me know in the comments. I'm Ben Alexander. Thank you for watching and bearing with me a little bit whilst I'm a bit inconsistent with my videos. I know it annoys some people. Some people are saying, like, where are my videos? It's been a week. I just have a lot going on at home and in life. So yeah, thank you for bearing with me. Also, I have YouTube members. You can join for something like $1 a month if you want to, or Patreon. So thank you very much for watching, and yeah, have at it in the comments. It's a fascinating place. And yeah, like I said in the recent community post, sorry to all those people that wrote perfectly good comments. YouTube has just always had this issue where it just filters a lot of comments and just puts them to the side for my approval, and I almost never check that every few months. And I checked it the other day. Loads of people commenting ordinary things, saying that they agree with something I've said or they like the video, and then YouTube wants me to approve that comment. It makes no sense. So, and also people saying I've deleted some things, and I just haven't deleted. They've just not been posted since they were written. So, yeah, thank you for watching.